Don't forget to set your fantasy lineups before kick tonight. Our Fantasy Football Today crew all here in studio for week 1. Jamey Eisenberg, the mayor of Fantasyland. Take it away.
Thank you, Chris, the mayor of Iowa. I think when you look at this week, it's going to be fun. We're looking at, everybody's excited. They just did their drafts, and you're ready to get those lineups right. So as Chris said, set those lineups for tonight's game. Getting calls about lineups as we speak. Let's go to the start of the week because we're really excited about this player and Drake Maye getting a chance to back up what we talk about in the offseason. I'm as big a Drake Maye guy as I think you'll find, and looking forward to see how he'll do in his week 1 debut. With a lot of new toys, getting Stephon Diggs, who thankfully is going to be healthy, getting Travion Henderson, who I think is going to make a lot of plays out of the backfield. We'll see if Kyle Williams plays, but really more importantly, Josh McDaniels. And I think what he's going to do for Drake Maye is going to be fantastic. Plus, a little revenge game narrative for McDaniels taking on the Raiders. Might be able to stick it to his former team a little bit with his quarterback, making plays with his legs. Love his rushing prop on FanDuel. I think you're going to get a good opportunity for him to make a lot of plays running the ball. So he's going to have a top 10 finish this week against the Raiders defense that is obviously still going to struggle. I don't care what Pete Carroll does. It's going to be a fun situation for him. Well, I guess revenge game for Pete Carroll too, going back to New England. But a fun situation for Drake Maye, top 10 quarterback. Let's talk about some other starts for me, and that's Jerome Ford, who I think has an opportunity here. Audition without Quinshon Judkins there. And we saw week 16 last year against the Bengals. That's the Browns were playing this week. Jerome Ford had 24 PPR points. How much work he'll share with Dylan Sampson, we're going to find out, but there's a chance here for him until Judkins returns, and maybe even when Judkins is back, because it's going to take him some time to work his way up to speed. I think Jerome Ford can establish himself as lead running back. We had a good conversation on our Fantasy Football Today podcast. Could it be Dylan Sampson? Could it be Jerome Ford? Might be both, just based on how this Bengals defense operates. But great situation for Jerome Ford if you're going to use him. Could be a number 2 running back this week. Dave, a guy that you're looking at this week is a guy making his NFL debut in Tetairoa McMillan.
I like 3 rookies, but Tetairoa is the one that I really like a lot. And I get a lot of questions about McMillan and whether or not you can trust him in fantasy this week. I think the answer is absolutely yes. Should be the number 1 wide receiver for Carolina. I think he improves Bryce Young's passing as just against zone coverage. And I think the Jaguars are going to play a lot more zone coverage. And even if they don't, even if it's man-to-man, Tetairoa McMillan is 6'5". He runs like he's 5'11". He's somebody who can absolutely come through. We all like him as a top 24 wide receiver this week. In my opinion, he is a must-start fantasy wide receiver. And Emeka Egbuka isn't that far behind him, kind of a borderline number 2, number 3 fantasy wide receiver, but should be number 2 in targets for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's against the Falcons. And I know the Falcons, they've got one great corner in A.J. Terrell. Everybody else in that secondary, I've got questions about. The pass rush, I've got questions about. I don't have any questions about this Tampa Bay defense. And I've been talking for months and months and months about Tyler Warren of the Indianapolis Colts. These guys are tired of hearing about it. I'm not tired of it. I'm starting him in a bunch of my leagues. Love the matchup against the Dolphins. I don't think they've got a linebacker who can match up with them. And if they choose to go with Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think that Warren can actually outmuscle Minkah on a bunch of plays. But he's the short area option that I think Daniel Jones leans on the most. Top 12 type of fantasy tight end in week number 1.
How much fun is it going to be if it happens to see Tetairoa McMillan and Travis Hunter line up against each other if Hunter's playing corner?
It happened in college.
Well, yeah, but in the NFL, we're going to see that this weekend. And
you're going to see McMillan win on those matchups.
I hope so. I hope we see Travis Hunter win on a lot of offensive matchups.
Yes.
I know one of your guys, Heath, that you're starting this week is Trevor Lawrence.
Who would have thought going into week 1 that the game we'd really be excited about is the Jags and the Panthers? But that's exactly what I'm excited about because it's 2 very bad defenses. It's been a great offseason for Trevor Lawrence. He gets Liam Cohen to make this offense more competent. He gets Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall pick, to hopefully make his receiving core more competent. I don't want to see Travis Hunter covering Tetairoa McMillan because I want to see Travis Hunter catching 6 passes for 90 yards and a touchdown in week 1. This is going to be a shootout between those 2 teams. I like Trevor Lawrence and Bryce Young, but I love Trevor Lawrence. I would start him over Justin Fields, over Dak Prescott, over Jared Goff, and over Brock Purdy in week 1.
Could be a great start to the season for Trevor Lawrence, too. Fantastic schedule. So if you are looking to sort of stream quarterbacks, which a lot of fantasy managers like to do, Trevor Lawrence can get you through the first part of the season and hopefully produce at a high level. All right, let's go from the positive to the negative. Let's look at the sits for week number 1. And I'm just anti-Jets for this matchup against the Steelers. Makes a lot of sense when you're looking at the defense that they're facing. Pittsburgh's defense should be fantastic once again. And the Jets offense probably going to struggle until we see them get a little bit, I think, more comfortable with everything. And Justin Fields, to start the season, in every year of his career has been bad. Dave will tell you why he doesn't like Justin Fields. I'm going to tell you why I don't like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. The loss of Elijah Vera Tucker is going to be bad for Breece Hall and really the entire run game when they're facing a matchup like this. So Hall, I think, is somebody you want to use as, at best, a flex option. For example, I am starting Jerome Ford over Breece Hall. Nobody drafted it that way, but I think the opportunity for Jerome Ford against the Bengals versus Breece Hall against the Steelers is not something you want to necessarily trust. So we'll find out. Is it going to be all of Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and Isaiah Davis? Throw in Justin Fields. It could be a messy situation, and if they're chasing points, hopefully Breece Hall will be the one working on passing downs, but I think it could be a little bit problematic for him in this matchup against the Steelers. And for Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields Wilson connection should be strong from their days at Ohio State. I need to see it first. So again, you're probably starting him in 3 receiver leagues, but in 2 receiver leagues, I would say Garrett Wilson.
Say it one more time. Who are the Jets playing in week 1?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
And where did Justin Fields play last year?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
So they probably know how to slow him down. They certainly know how to slow down Lamar Jackson. Jackson hasn't done very well against him. And Justin Fields, they've got the book on him. They've already benched him once. Now they're going to send him to the bench in the locker room without many points. And by the way, just to make everybody feel better about those Jets moving forward, it's the Steelers this week. It's the Bills the week after that. It's the Bucs the week after that. And then the Dolphins and the Cowboys. So maybe by week 4, we'll feel okay about starting some of these Jets players. I'm also low on DK Metcalf because A, I think the matchup's going to be tough against Sauce Gardner. And B, I don't know how much throwing the Steelers are going to have to do in this game. This feels like a low-scoring, grinded-out field goal type of game. Maybe the running backs do okay. At least Jalen Warren does okay. But DK Metcalf is a flex for me.
2 games against Sauce Gardner in his career, he's combined for 5 catches. That was with
That's bad.
Seattle. And there's talk about maybe Sauce Gardner traveling now, which he never usually did. So
it's 100% happening.
In this this game makes the most sense if there ever was. And you're probably going to see a cornerback locked up on Calvin Ridley, which is a guy that you're a little bit concerned about this week, Heath.
Absolutely terrible spot for Calvin Ridley, who I think could have a bounce-back year this year if Cam Ward in the middle of the year turns into a competent NFL quarterback. But his first start at Denver, maybe the best defense in the NFL, maybe the best corner in the NFL, Pat Surtain, and we don't have to speculate whether he's going to travel. He's going to follow Calvin Ridley all over the field, make his life miserable. Not a top 36 wide receiver. There's a lot of guys we talk about that in a 3 wide receiver league, you probably still start him. In a 2 wide receiver league, you don't want to. I don't want to start Calvin Ridley in a 3 wide receiver.
We ranked 48 guys. You see where he's ranked for me, 45th. He's just barely cracking the list. It's just tough to trust Calvin Ridley in this matchup against the Denver Broncos. All right, Chris, that'll do it for us. Back to you, Mr. Iowa.
I'm headed to Iowa later on. I got the Cyhawk game this weekend on Saturday ahead of a huge first Sunday of the NFL season. We've got the doubleheader on CBS, and our Fantasy Football Today crew will have you covered with a late morning live podcast getting you ready for Sunday.